welcome to the Talk Chamber, our final episode of the year and of our mini-series, The Best of the Talk Chamber, features Bill Dunavant, one of Memphis's great cheerleaders. If you need a pep talk about Memphis, this is the episode for you. Take a listen to Bill's story and his excitement for Memphis.
You're changing the trajectory. You're blowing up a lot of things downtown to the benefit of our entire population. And if we are successful in doing that, then we as a city are going to change like we've never seen before. You can look at great urban cities, whether it's downtown Nashville, downtown Austin. The pieces to the puzzle are on the table. I just hope and pray our political leadership, both in the county and the city council, the county commissioners, more importantly, the state of Tennessee, recognizes that if we can put those pieces to those puzzle together for downtown Memphis, then we are going to be something special.
I'm your host, Taylor Ann Carpenter, and welcome to The Talk Chamber, a production of the Greater Memphis Chamber. The Talk Chamber is the podcast for the latest on the Chamber, economic development, and all things Memphis. This episode features one of Memphis's diehard fans, one of its greatest champions, Mr. Bill Dunavant. Bill, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Always great to be here at the Chamber.
I'd like to start out these episodes by just getting to know the guests a little bit. Can you tell us about yourself? What's your story here in Memphis?
So it's probably a pretty long, old story, actually. I'm a sixth-generation Memphian. I'm happy to say that. I think I'm a bit of an oddball to be able to say that because we've been here so long. I'm really proud that I've got seventh-generation children living here and eighth-generation grandchildren living here. I run a 95-year-old business that has been obviously here a long time, that was started by my grandfather on Front Street. He was a raw cotton trader back in the 20s and 30s, and my dad took over the business and grew it into the largest cotton trader in the world, and I've had the pleasure and honor of working beside him up until his death. And, learning so much from him about what your home city means to you. And it meant a lot to him. It obviously means a lot to me as I look at it and as I look at our team members at our company and what they do and how they give back to the community. That's kind of the lifeblood of who we are in our family as well as Dunavant Enterprises. You
have such deep roots here in Memphis. You said 6 generations and
That's
now
right.
Going on 7 and 8.
7 or 8 are here.
That's awesome. So what is it about Memphis that you love?
Well, obviously, I had an opportunity when I graduated from the University of Virginia. My dad gave me an opportunity to live overseas, and I lived in Osaka, Japan for about 2.5 years and really got away from America, which was one of the great educations of my life to see how other parts of the world work. And when you look at America, it is a huge piece to a global puzzle, but it's not the only piece. And we see that in the world today. But to be able to travel the world like I have been able to do through all my years in cotton and know and understand what a special place we have in Memphis, the center of the country, America's distribution center, 4 incredible seasons of weather. Whether you like them or not, you got them. And I think that's special to me. The fact that we have such an incredible asset with the Mississippi River coming by us from an agricultural standpoint, I'm a hunter, so from a waterfowl standpoint, these are really things that make Memphis special. But, you can't go anywhere in the world without saying that the people and the citizens of Memphis are what make it special.
I 100% agree. I mean, born and raised Memphian, so I've got a lot of connections here, but it's every time the thing that draws me back, whether it's because I've moved cities or I'm on vacation, it's always the excitement of coming back home to the people.
Exactly.
To the people, who I love, who love me, who love the city. We've got a special spirit and a special vibe about us.
There's no question about it. And I think, you get people that come from other parts of the United States and they feel it, they see it. And we just got to continue to make the city matter and make the city a better place. And I think the foundations are laid for all of us. Every city has ups and downs. And at my age, I've seen it throughout the United States, throughout the globe. But I think Memphis is in a very special place. I think COVID really upset the whole balance of the world, from businesses to politics to families to healthcare and from crime perspectives. But I really think now, the world is moving past that. And Memphis was doing so well before COVID and obviously COVID set us back. But I think now we're coming out of that, and I think the opportunity for Memphis to shine and be better has never been better in my life.
I agree. I mean, we are already seeing so much change, positive change happening in Memphis. So many great things for our city, for its people, for our economy. And it's really wonderful as a native Memphian to see that and to see people starting to get more and more behind what we have going here.
There's no question.
Do you have a personal memory or place in Memphis that embodies why you love the city and believe in this potential?
I could answer that question probably 10 or 15 ways, just growing up here and everything. But, I'll give you an example or answer that question this way. When I moved back from Japan, my mother, who was originally from Nashville, and married my father, and she was very involved in the garden world of Memphis. And she goes, "You got to get involved." And I said, "Well, what does that mean?" She goes, "Well, I want you to be on the board of the Memphis Botanic Garden. A 98-acre park in the middle of the city, and I loved trees and gardening myself now in my life. And so I got involved in the Botanic Garden, and it was much like a lot of not-for-profits back in the 80s. They were broke, and that's why it was a real challenge for me to get on the board and try to make a difference. And God bless JB and Helen Harden, who gave a lot of money to build the Harden Hall at the garden that created revenue for the garden. And then I came up with a harebrained scheme called Live at the Garden, and 26 years later, look what happened. And that's just, so you're proud of certain things that you do. I'm proud of some of the other not-for-profits I've been involved with. I'm proud of some of the schools that I've been involved with. And, as you look back, you see where you make a difference in your community. And so many Memphians, they can sit on the couch and complain, or they can get off the couch and make a difference. And whether it's doing a simple thing like volunteering for something like a Rise to reading to school children, we can bemoan education, or we can get up and make a difference. And I think there's so many good philanthropic people in this city. There's a fiber. I can look at my dad's generation. I look at my generation. I look at all the not-for-profits and people that are willing to give money back to this city for so many different good causes in the city that make it a better place for all of us to live. And you go back to the Abe Plows, you go back to the Fred Smiths, the Pitt Hydes, the George Cates, the Mason Hawkins, all of these great leaders who have been in our city, born and raised in our city, and want to make sure our city has continued ongoing success. And to do that, they love it so much they give back and they make a difference. And those leaders I had, there's a whole new set of leaders in this community, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, that are all making a difference as they come together with one term, and that's Memphians.
I think it is just so important and so valuable that we have the business community and business leaders like yourself who do really believe in Memphis and want to give back, because it's those assets, like you said, the Botanic Gardens, that are helping shape our city in so many different ways, and it's those philanthropic opportunities that help us stand out and be different than other cities. And so I think it's vital and an incredibly special thing that we have business leaders like yourself that desire to do that and desire to make Memphis greater.
Well, you look, my example was one simple one, the Botanic Garden, but you look at the Brooks Museum, you look at Shelby Farms, you look at the Grizzlies, you look at the sports franchises, you look at the Liberty Bowl, you look at all the things that we've got. You go into community centers, you go into the park system, you go into the museum system, you go into the zoo. All of these things are the fabric that you put all those pieces together. It makes a really compelling puzzle for Memphis, Tennessee. And the region.
It sure does. I want to kind of on that same note move into talking about our business community and the connection that you have to the Chamber. You were our 2024 Chair of the Chairman's Circle. And as former chair of our Chairman's Circle, you've championed job creation and economic growth. What makes Memphis a unique place for businesses to succeed, and how do you see that shaping our city's future?
Well, obviously, for me, as a history economics major from UVA, you look at the history. Our history in Memphis is founded because of the Mississippi River. and that was logistics. That was cotton. But more importantly, Memphis is in the center of our country. It is the major distribution warehousing city, America's distribution center, if you call it, with the rails, with the roads, with the airport. That is a major piece to the puzzle that makes Memphis special. You throw on top of that the agricultural belt all around us. We've got the greatest water source on earth passing by us every single day. We've got the largest aquifer in the world underneath us that's reoccurring every day. You go around the world, whether China or India, places that struggle with water. Memphis is not one of those cities, and that will be here for generations to come. And I think that's one of our greatest assets that we have in Memphis. But why do businesses come here? I think you look at the region. I say this when I speak all the time. Memphis is a victim of two state borders. It's just where we are. We didn't ask for it, but we have it. But when you look at our friends in North Mississippi, that's the fastest growing part of the state of Mississippi. You look at our friends in eastern Arkansas, from the lithium deposits in South Arkansas to the steel industry, just 40 miles up the river, to the tech world coming to West Memphis now. You add that to West Tennessee, you truly have got one of the most vibrant areas of the United States that is attracting businesses because of workforce, because of the cost of living, because of our tax structure. All of these things are coming together, and this recent wave of technology companies coming to our area and companies that are related to technology coming to our area is really exciting because obviously America's Distribution Center, we're it. Obviously, when you look at the investments that we have seen in the automotive world around us, amazing, outstanding. Now you start talking about the technology world encompassing with, also with the agriculture I just talked about. It sets us on a very, very good path. And everybody listening to this podcast has got to understand we have to do one thing. We have to start believing in ourselves.
We have to start believing in ourselves. That's the message, everybody. If you did not hear it, I'm going to say it again. We have to believe in ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the reality is, and the truth, the reality and the truth is there's so many good things going on in our region, but the perception is we tend to focus on the negative. And that's, you look at Austin, you look at Nashville, those people bow up and get really worked up when somebody talks bad about their city. I want everybody in our city to get worked up and mad when somebody says something bad about our city or calls our city out because they're not hearing the reality of all the good that's going on. If you want to focus on our media and what they pump into our brains every day, then you're going to lose because they're not reporting what I see every day. And I've grown up in this city, and I get tired of it, but I'm not going to let them win. But everybody in this city's got to get on the same team and focus on the reality of everything going on. My God, we just got a $1 billion bridge over the Mississippi River. The largest federal investment in Tennessee history is going to take place right here. The state of Tennessee just allowed or just committed to build I-69, a new federal highway from Kentucky to Dyersburg. Well, guess where it comes next? Dyersburg to Memphis. So you've got all of this infrastructure, all of these opportunities coming that are going to do nothing but spur economic growth. Now, workforce development leads all the way back into education. I know some of us in the community are frustrated with education right now. To me, don't be frustrated. Look at the opportunity to improve. And education, my parents did it for me. I grew up a dyslexic child, which my parents thought I was a little strange, but my mother helped me work through it. And we as a community, we as a region, have got to focus on education. And it starts with that third grade reading. It even starts with preschool reading. You don't have to have a high school education. You don't have to have a college education. But we have in the region some incredible educational opportunities in the Memphis region, North Mississippi, Arkansas. And we've got to continue to educate. And if we're not doing it right, who's focusing on doing it better? And the state of Mississippi is incredible, the work that they've done with third grade reading. We've got a lot of work to do as a state of Tennessee, not just the Memphis Shelby County schools. Even the other school districts in Tennessee, in Shelby County, have enormous room for improvement. But let's focus on how to do it. Let's find who's doing it right, and let's duplicate it and do it right in Memphis, because that's how we build a workforce in our city.
It starts with education.
100%.
That's where it starts, and that's where the pipeline begins. And I know that the work we do here at the Chamber, especially on our workforce development team, they really believe that, and so they really try to get in touch with those students in various ways. But I also think that even though we as a city might not have asked to be on the border of two other states, we have used it to our advantage, and we have, learned from North Mississippi and learned from Arkansas, and it's helped us be that beacon and be that hub that, people from Mississippi and from Arkansas come to Memphis to work every single day. And I just think that's a really unique opportunity that we were given, whether we asked for it or not.
Look, all of the suburbs around Memphis exist and are successful because of Memphis. And to be in Rossville or Collierville or Olive Branch or Marion, Arkansas, Millington, we all are the Memphis region. And we all use these Memphis assets, whether it's the Grizzlies or the airport or the Brooks Museum or the zoo or the University of Memphis from an educational standpoint. All of these things make a great city, a great region. And look, I salute our suburbs. I want them to be great places to live with great political leadership that are providing schools, providing infrastructure, providing a way of life, providing businesses, providing restaurants, providing cultural opportunities for the region. And I don't bemoan that. Not everybody can live in Memphis, and that's okay. But if we have good suburbs, then we're going to have a great city. Now, from a narrative perspective, they don't need to live in those cities and talk bad about Memphis, because as Memphis goes, as goes the suburbs. And so we need to come together, and we need to support our region together and control our narrative.
I agree. You mentioned a few minutes ago about the I-55 bridge and how that's the largest infrastructure investment in state history. So I know that you were such a great leader in that effort to attain that replacement bridge. Could you just talk about how you led that effort?
Well, let me qualify that. I didn't lead the effort, but a great team of people, much like this city is very, very famous for. You don't need leaders; you need team members, and that effort led by Tennessee Department of Transportation, Arkansas Department of Transportation, spurred by what happened with the I-40 bridge when there was a problem. It was a huge aha moment for the country from a strategic importance of what those two bridges mean strategically for our country, not for Arkansas and Tennessee. And I was very fortunate, to be a member of the Chamber team, to be a member of the TDOT team. But the work that Congressman Steve Cohen, Congressman David Kustoff, Senator Hagerty, Senator Blackburn, Senator Cotton, Senator Boozman from Arkansas, Governor Huckabee, Governor Lee, it was a huge team of people, and I just got lucky enough to be on the team. And for me to be able to talk about the importance from a logistics perspective, to bring the history that I know of our area, of our community to the effort in Washington, to let those people in Washington know that we are one of 5 cities that have 5 of 6 Class 1 rails. That's 2.5 to 3 million containers a year get on rail from the West Coast and East Coast and come to Memphis. It's a pretty compelling argument when you tell the Federal Highway Administrator that those 3 million trips by train, which has to go backwards and forwards, so that's 6 million truck trips would come to Memphis, Tennessee if we didn't have rail. Well, that's 6 million truck trips off of our federal highways, less wear and tear on our roads, safer, and the carbon footprint is a lot less by putting it on rail. Having said that, what happens when those 3 million containers come to Memphis? They got to come off, and they got to get on a truck, and they got to move. And that bridge is the 3rd most traffic corridor in America. So maybe I'm too simplistic when I look at this stuff, but it was a no-brainer for me to be able to go and talk about the importance to our country, not to Memphis, not to the state of Tennessee, not to Arkansas, but to our country. And we got it. And it's an incredibly great win for the region again that we're going to get that. It's going to be fast-tracked. It's going to be an architecturally incredible addition to our skyline in Memphis. People ask me all the time, are we going to light it up? And, of course, the answer is like a Christmas tree. But it's going to tower the south end of the river as it replaces the old bridge. And it's fast track. It starts in 26. It'll be in 30. But, again, I salute our political leaders. I salute our federal government. But really the work that the Tennessee Department of Transportation, led by Commissioner Butch Ely, under Governor Lee's guidance, you just got to be really proud of what we achieved for the region.
Well, I salute you because I think we would not have been able to do it without the voice that we have in our business community, the leaders of our business community, saying those facts that you just said about how important a bridge crossing the Mississippi into Arkansas would be for the logistics of our whole country. And so thank you for the effort that you put in, and for any other business leaders that are listening to this who helped in that effort. It's a really great thing to have business leaders like yourself.
Well, I'll tell you, I always err on the side of simplicity. If we have an earthquake and that bridge falls in the river and we hadn't done anything about it, the new bridge will obviously be made to be earthquake-proof. That bridge is not the old bridge, and so that's a very, very old physical piece of infrastructure that was cutting edge when it was built. But now we need new cutting edge, and I promise you, when it's built in conjunction with I-55, I-69, I-40, I-22, all of those fingers are coming into our great city. And it just continues to expand on the narrative of how great America's distribution center is, the Memphis region.
That's a 75-year-old bridge that we have right now. So it's been a good long while since that bridge has been updated. And that was, a key fact that the team had to use to, pitch this to government officials. This is an old bridge. There's a lot of hazards and a lot of things that could come from it.
It really didn't hurt, quite frankly, that the federal highway administrator was an Elvis impersonator when he got out of college. So he loved Memphis and he loved Elvis Presley. And I say that anecdotally with a smile on my face, that this many years, Elvis is still making a difference.
Elvis will probably be making a difference for a long time. And just one other thing that, sticks out to me about the whole I-55 replacement bridge was Congressman Cohen. Something he said that was, if it's good for Memphis, it's good for America. And I just think that rings true on so many fronts, but especially on our logistics and supply chain and, our transportation.
Look, Congressman Cohen's like me. We're lifelong Memphians. I don't see color. I'm a Memphian. I don't see politics. I'm a Memphian. And Steve Cohen did a great job. He's a good Memphian.
So you've been championed for changing the Memphis narrative to focus on its positives. You've already talked about it on here. What's one specific achievement or moment in our city's recent history that you think showcases why Memphis is a city on the rise?
Well, I think obviously we just talked about the infrastructure investment, so that there's a multi-pronged answer to that question. Clearly, when you look at the announcement of Ford Blue Oval on the Memphis mega site in Stanton, Tennessee, clearly when you look at Amplify Cell Technology, the tri-venture between Cummins and Daimler Chrysler and PACCAR, a $3 billion investment. When you look at the incredible investment that XAI has made, all of a sudden, the globe, not the United States, the globe is starting to ask the question, what in the heck is going on in Memphis, Tennessee? And what a wonderful, wonderful light to have shine on Memphis. So, in recent history, those three, and then obviously the announcement of a big data center in West Memphis, with the advent of continuing to be one of, probably the one or two largest airport in the world with FedEx. And, I had a great opportunity to visit with Fred Smith before he passed away, probably 6 months ago. And we were talking about Memphis and logistics and the 8.2 billion pounds of cargo that he moves through Memphis every single year. And he said, Bill, more importantly to that is, do you know which port in the world is the largest customs clearance port? And he goes, it's Memphis, Tennessee. We clear more because of the volume of stuff coming in from overseas. It clears customs in Memphis, Tennessee, and the amount of paperwork generated because of that makes us one of the largest customs clearing ports in the world.
I did not know that.
Well, that came from Fred. I'm quoting him because he was the best.
Yes, he was, and another great leader for our city, a great innovator. Such a treasure to have so many great business leaders in our community. As someone deeply invested in Memphis's growth, what's one way you've seen the community's passion shape the city, and how does that fuel optimism for the future?
Well, I think, as a Memphian, one thing we Memphians have to do, we need to focus on being Memphians. Not white, not black, not Hispanic, not Asian, not Indian, not minority. We need to focus our efforts together as Memphians, making Memphis what it could and should be. And I think we're getting there. I see a change, and I've had an incredible opportunity to speak about Memphis to a lot of people, and I keep getting asked to speak because people like hearing good news. I'm a positive person. I'll turn anything you say negative into a positive. That's just the way I feel about it, okay? And I think if we Memphians come together and we start thinking together about the positive, I'm not going to let the 800 bad criminals in this city defeat us. We're 1.33 million people as a region, and if those 1.33 aren't smart enough to overwhelm the crime problem, which not only exists in our city, exists in every city. But I don't like our news cycle. I don't like the media and the way they harp on some things. And we Memphians have got to get together and really keep focusing on all the good and all the positives. They are there. If you hadn't heard me speak, I'm happy to come talk to you because there are so many good things that you and I are talking about right now. But I tend to feel like Memphians want to tear themselves down versus build themselves up. And we have so many good building blocks now, and such a strong foundation as a city that has the vibrant culture. We got the grit, we've got the grind, we've got the museums, we've got the sports, we've got the America's distribution, we've got the infrastructure. All of these things coming together are making the globe look at Memphis and say, what the heck's going on there? Something is changing, and that's what I'm really positive about for our future.
Something is changing, and it's going to continue to change, but it's going to continue to change for the better, and it's going to change the trajectory like we've never seen it before.
There's no question about it. And how do you change it? We're sitting here talking in one of the greatest institutions in Memphis, the Greater Memphis Chamber of Commerce. I'm so happy for all of the staff here that we won the Chamber of the Year award. That's never happened in our history. But our job at the Chamber is to support our business community, but to retain our business, retain our companies, recruit new companies, and grow our tax base, because no great city is ever going to grow unless you keep improving your tax base. And our tax base, with the work that has been done in West Tennessee, North Mississippi, and Eastern Arkansas, that tax base is set for an incredible run on growth that is only going to benefit our community, our infrastructure, our schools, our community centers, just our way of life. And that's the reason sometimes you don't see it. I see it in business because I pay taxes, and that's okay, because if it's going into our education system, our roads, our schools, whatever, we are going to become a better community. And I see that we're right on the front of the wave, and everybody in the city's got to get ahead of that and support it.
Everybody's got to get on board right now.
No doubt.
So for somebody new to Memphis, somebody who, is just getting settled, just kind of figuring out what it is to be a Memphian, what's one way that they can connect with the city and its spirit that'll make them feel like a true Memphian?
Well, the simple answer is go see our city. Go be a part of our city. Go to Darius Rucker at Live at the Garden on Saturday night. Go to the #2 zoo in America right here in Memphis, Tennessee. If you're new to Memphis and your parents come visit, take them out to Coastal Seafood out at Shelby Farm. Sit on the back porch and ask them how they like our city. One of the most astounding, beautiful views across Shelby Farms that we've got. Take them down to Tom Lee Park and look at what happened there. That repurpose of a beautiful urban park right on the edge of our best asset, the Mississippi River, looking at a western sunset. Oh, by the way, our Brooks Museum is soon to be delivered, and that's not going to be a nationally recognized museum. That's going to be a globally recognized museum that's spearheaded by Pitt and Barbara Hyde and many, many generous donors. So go to our barbecue restaurants. I mean, go to a great culture like the Rendezvous. My God, look how many people come to our city and go to Graceland. Memphians probably don't even go to Graceland, but the rest of the world comes. So as somebody new coming to Memphis, there's so many great things in our city to do. And for me, an outdoorsman, I love having 4 seasons. I'm really right now looking forward to the fall because I'm sick of the heat, obviously. But then the hunting seasons in the spring, and it's a wonderful place to be from a weather perspective, in my opinion. Many Memphians won't believe me right now because it's hot outside.
Right. Once it's hot, we're like, oh no, horrible weather. I want to take what you said one step further about people new to Memphis needing to go and see the city. You mentioned it, but I want to reiterate it. Memphians need to go see the city.
Absolutely. I mean, I tell you, there's a huge move afoot. Chambers on board. Both mayors are on board. The safest part of our city is downtown Memphis. And the reality versus the perception, the reality is, the numbers say it, the most safest place in Memphis is downtown. But the perception is, I'm not going downtown. Now, we need to continue to invest in our downtown. Great cities have great downtowns. And pre-COVID, you saw an enormous migration of population downtown, and there was a lot of things going on. And, COVID shut a lot of things down with right to work and sit at home and all that stuff that I don't believe in. But, our downtown is here. With the Brooks Museum, God knows what the investment that the most special organization in our city, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, is based down here with all of their staff and research specialists and doctors. What organization in the world comes to work every day to put themselves out of business by solving children's cancer? And how special is that for our city? Our downtown is important. Our Memphis Grizzlies are important. This whole move afoot to redo the FedEx Forum, to repurpose Beale Street into what it should and can be, is a really significant opportunity for our downtown. Our political leadership needs to know that we need to repurpose everything downtown, from our sidewalks to our greenscape. Clearly, the security is already working. The Memphis Police Department's done an amazing job with these artificial intelligence cameras, and it is safe downtown. Reality, it's safe. Perception, people don't want to come downtown. Beale Street is a diamond in the rough that people are wanting to invest in, but they've got to have the right structure. You put those pieces together, you are going to start reshaping, and it will take off like a rocket when it happens. And it is a lot of money. I'm not saying it isn't. You literally, I don't want to say this, but you're changing the trajectory. You're blowing up a lot of things downtown to the benefit of our entire population. And if we are successful in doing that, then we as a city are going to change like we've never seen before. You can look at great urban cities, whether it's downtown Nashville, downtown Austin. The pieces to the puzzle are on the table. I just hope and pray our political leadership, both in the county and the city council, the county commissioners, more importantly, the state of Tennessee, recognizes that if we can put those pieces to those puzzle together for downtown Memphis, then we are going to be something special in Memphis.
100%. I mean, there's lots of moving pieces, but we've got all these ideas and we've got the right ideas that will help us get there.
We do, but the hardest part of leadership is leading. And our political leadership is elected to lead, both from the mayors and the commissions and the city council. And we have got, from a political leadership standpoint, we Memphians, not political leadership, we Memphians in political leadership, we can control that narrative, and we can be smarter than other cities and try to figure out how to put those pieces in the puzzle the right way.
I want to look to the future. If you could paint a picture of Memphis in 2035, what would you hope the world says about our city, and how are you working to make that vision a reality?
Well, I think a lot of those pieces of the puzzle we just talked about are out there. And so you just gave me a 10-year runway to make that decision. And the 10-year runway is, we got a new bridge across the Mississippi River. It's going to be finished by 2030. You got a incredible investment with XAI in Memphis. That is a game changer, okay? A game changer investment for a community. You've got Ford Blue Oval, a game changer investment for a community. Amplify Cell Technologies, a game changer. The investment in Eastern Arkansas, a game changer. All of these pieces to the puzzle come back to what we just talked about. A vibrant downtown Memphis is critical in the next 10 years. When we look at re-signing the Grizzlies, when we look at the potential redevelopment of Beale Street, and attracting investors not just from Memphis, the New York City crowd, the private equity funds that can flow in to make cities great, from hotel and real estate development. We've got the canvas. The canvas is called the Memphis region. You're starting to see some major brushstrokes, okay, that are coming to this canvas. And the canvas has got 10 years to be painted. You just laid that out for me. And I really think the political leadership, those Memphians, have got to lead. And does it take risk? I've been in business all my life. I take risk every single day. And Memphis has got to step out there and take some risk to be better, to be the right kind of place to be. We got to make some hard decisions to continue to support what our law enforcement officials are doing. The numbers are moving in the right direction, but I always say the numbers aren't where we want them until they're zero. The goal in criminal justice should always be zero. Having said that, you got to give those people an opportunity that have not gone the right way to get them back on track to go the right way. Okay, and that's things that we got to do, whether it's trade schools in our prisons or whatever. And to combat crime, you really got to start with education. That education, that reading is a sense of purpose. That sense of purpose is a job. That job is a car, is a family, and look what you get. You get a very vibrant community. We got to fix the school systems. There's no question about that. And the answer is they can and will be fixed. Now, how they do that, I'm not smart enough. But you do it through leadership. You do it through the community, the faith-based community, the parents in this community, all have the same common goal to educate our children. You put all those together for 2035. And 10 years is not a long time. It's a very short time. And the pieces of the Memphis region puzzle that we've talked about for the last 30 minutes are all on the table. But we Memphians, okay, we political leadership, faith-based community, the business leadership, the education leadership, all of those pieces have got to get on the same track and understand the goal for all of us regionally as Memphians by 2035 is to get all these pieces moving in the right direction. Is it easy? Absolutely not. But leadership can get us there.
Most great things aren't easy.
Never. I mean, if it was, everybody would do it. I mean,
everybody would be great.
Our model at our company, even back in my dad's days in cotton, is if everybody's doing the easy stuff, there's no way to make money. It's the hard stuff that you make a difference, okay? And we did it in raw cotton in some of the places that nobody wanted to go. We wanted to go because we could do it. The hard stuff is more profitable, and we do it today in logistics. I'm not a commodity trader in logistics. I want to do the hard things because if I can take a company's logistics supply chain where something's not working, where it's hard for them, and we can come in and figure it out and make a difference, I think they're going to do business with us.
Definitely. Good things never come easy. And it's just, if we want great for our city, it's going to take a little elbow grease. It's going to take some minds getting together and putting in the work.
They are, and I'll say this. Life is not full of positive steps. You just hope you can take 5 positive steps for every 1 negative step, okay? And then you're 4 steps ahead. And I think that's one of the problems we have in Memphis is we beat ourselves up too much over 1 negative when we got 4 positives that in reality, but the perception is they want to look at the 1 negative step. And that's not who I am. That's not who we need to be as a city. And we've got to come together and put it together. And it's not easy, okay? It's not easy. But is it doable? 100%. But it's got to have good leadership.
It sure does. As we end our time together, I have one last question. What's one example from your own journey that demonstrates how Memphis is greater, and how do you see that driving the city forward in years to come?
Well, I usually focus on the simplistic stuff. So at my age now that I have children, 4 children, 2 of them are in Memphis, 2 of them are not. Therefore, they're getting recruited daily to get back to Memphis.
Of course.
But the fact that I've got grandchildren, those are things that, you reach a point in life and you say, hey, you want to leave it better for them than was for you. And so I think there's so many Memphians that and friends of mine that are talking about, how do we attract people back to Memphis? How do we give them back to Memphis? Well, you got to create that positive opportunity that Memphis is a place on the move. We just talked about 2035. If the right pieces to the puzzle are put in place with the correct leadership, political leadership, business leadership, education leadership, faith-based leadership, then all those things come together. And that's my hope and prayer, that everybody in the community realizes that we're moving in the right direction, and it's going to come quick. And I really think we're on the front of the wave, but people have got to step up and do what I've been doing, is continue to beat down the negative. I'm not going to let the media beat me. I'm not going to let the 800 bad guys, the bad, really bad criminals, beat us. And to do that, we all got to get together and make it a better place.
Agreed. Bill, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, what a pleasure. Go Memphis.
Go Memphis. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Talk Chamber. We're so glad you're here. My one takeaway for you is to celebrate Memphis, not just on 901 Day, but every day. Share the good news because we've got a lot of it. If you enjoyed this episode or learned a valuable piece of information, share it with a friend or a few. Subscribe to The Talk Chamber to keep up with the latest on the Chamber, economic development, and all things Memphis. Follow us on social media at Memphis Chamber, and we'll see you next time.